something like that?
Well, yeah, it's recorded now, so that is the opening.
Great.
Welcome to Podcast 38.
38.
Our sponsor this day is Mike's Meats. Remember, nothing beats Mike's Meat. So, come on down.
You need to... It's my job to laugh. It's your job to keep a straight face and be able to deliver that line. Oh... Thank you, Mike's Meats.
Thank you for the sponsor. Let us go.
I eat Mike's Meats every day.
Me too. It's healthy and nutritious. I couldn't keep it.
I know. You just looked at me. You said it, and then you're like...
I couldn't do it.
I know.
Well, it's because I realized what I said. I didn't try to say healthy and nutritious. I realized that those two are the same thing. You may have thought that's the joke I was going for, but I guarantee you it was not.
Healthy and nutritious.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know. Well, welcome to the second episode in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Do we have any emails?
Oh my god, I can't believe you're asking me that now.
Well, we actually did something about the email, so...
God, I hate you.
The last email we got was to listen to the Iridescence, and...
By Brockhampton.
Guess what? We did. So
yeah,
we finally did a thing. Now, ask us to watch Hugo, and I'm sure we'll feel compelled to do so. Any emails?
Not answering you after that.
Okay, cool. You want to start off with movies, Josh?
No, not now.
Okay.
You've irritated me.
I
feel like I'm going a little too hard. I'm sorry.
Want to start with listing our favorite meats?
Yeah, what's your favorite meat?
Blog.
I like brats.
Anyway.
No, we don't have any more emails.
Okay, cool. You want to start with movies?
Yeah.
Alright. I feel like checking the emails at this point is just kind of redundant.
Yeah, really we should do it before the podcast.
Yep.
And if we have any new ones, then we should just bring it up. But guess what? Forgot about doing that until you said, do we have any emails?
Yes.
So.
I watched a movie called Stalker.
Yeah, is that the one with the big head?
Sure.
Okay.
There's no big head in the movie, but, you know.
But on the case.
On the poster, yes. There's a big head.
It's a big head. It's a real... it
fits
the whole
like
word.
I have a big head for watching Stalker, because it's a 1979 Soviet art movie. And I feel smarter for having watched it.
I hate you.
I actually like Stalker a great deal. It's not a movie that I would openly suggest unless you're prepared to... You know how Russians hate everything?
Damn.
This movie is like the cinematic personification of that feeling. It's 2 hours and roughly 50 minutes long, and it's just complete nihilism the whole way through. No hope, no happiness.
Yeah.
It's just complete Russian depression.
I like the idea of starting every sentence with like a sweeping overgeneralization.
Well,
do you know how the Germans were just all bad?
Yeah, every single one of the Russians.
You remember how all the Russians just hated everything?
There's this whole thing in Russian literature and Russian art that life is pointless, so why even bother? This is a real thing. This is Russian nihilism is a big deal. And Stalker is an excellent example of it. The movie is 90% men walking around a field and just talking about how life is pointless and why even bother with anything. And I liked it a lot, honestly. And it's my movie of the week. Go figure. Actually, the premise is super interesting, and it doesn't do all. I mean, the premise is more metaphorical than like literal. Like it's not a genre movie. It's just kind of it has this weird surreal premise that is a vehicle for philosophy. But the premise is in the near future in Russia, there's an area called the Zone, in which a meteor struck in this area, and then after they cleaned up the meteor and whatnot, people in this area just started disappearing, and things are just not what they seem in this zone, and nature itself began to weaponize itself. And if this sounds like the plot of Annihilation, that's because it basically is. I think Annihilation ripped off Stalker in the broadest way possible. And it's super interesting. It's really surreal and bizarre. And the main character is a stalker who is a man with psychic powers who takes people into the zone. Because in the zone, there's this place called The Room. And the room grants your greatest wish.
In the Zone is The Room?
Yes. The room is in the zone.
Just a copy of the movie The Room?
Yes, there's just a DVD in there. And that's just one of the bizarre parts about this movie, because it came out in 1979.
And then Tommy Wiseau grants your wish.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a place called The Room, and it's just this vague... The zone has a mind of its own, and everything is sentient. And it creates traps to ward people off. But if you go in there with enough hopelessness in your heart, if you've given up on life, it will let you into its inner sanctum, and it will make your deepest wish come true. And it's super, super interesting, and I totally recommend it. Cinematography is amazing. It's kind of... It's shot a little bit like First Reformed, in that every shot's really intimate, and it feels like a painting outside of the room. No, outside of the zone. Sorry, I'm getting my terminology mixed up. But once they go into the zone, everything's way more like open and freeform. And the world is sepia toned outside of the zone, but once they enter the zone, it becomes color, in a very blatant reference to Alice in Wonderland. No, Wizard of Oz. That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's a really thought-provoking and truly bizarre art piece, and it gets a 2 big thumbs up from me. The only thing is, it is very much 3 hours long, and it feels it, because it's very slow and very depressing. So it's not light viewing. Don't go into it expecting to be very entertained, but if you just want to see something very interesting and unique and different, check it out for sure. It's worth noting that this is from the guy who also made Solaris, which is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. And this movie is very boring, but I liked it more. I don't know. I don't remember enough about Solaris to tell you what I liked about this movie that Solaris didn't do, but I don't know. Whatever.
Alright.
Good movie. Solid good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. My movie of the week, First Reformed.
Sick.
Just talked about it in A24 Quest. If
Go
you
watch
really
that.
want to hear a lot about it, with spoilers, listen to that episode. If you
Yes.
don't want to hear about it with spoilers, listen here.
Yeah, good plan.
You have Ethan Hawke, and he is a reverend, and then he ends up breaking down. And that's basically the whole movie.
Yes.
And it's fantastic. The character development, the camera, the shootings, the amazingness of all that.
The
is
shootings?
great. Yeah, the shootings of the movie. How
Sure.
it's shot. The
All right.
cinematography.
Yes,
All right. Do you
yes.
want me to say the cinematography?
Yes.
Do you want me to go down to your level?
You imply that the movie's just like one
I know.
big shootout after the other.
What if it's just Free Fire with Ethan Hawke as a priest
Basically, yeah.
by himself in
Wouldn't
a room?
that be cool if 2 A24 movies just like surprise turned out to be in the same universe?
I mean,
Like,
they very well could.
like what if there was what if it's like very blatant, like in Free Fire, Ethan Hawke just stumbles into the scene as a priest, and he's like, what? He's like, I was just taking a walk around the town, and I heard all this shooting going on. I run a church called the First Reformed down there in Maine, or wherever that movie takes place.
And now we're in the 80s.
Yeah.
And doing this in New York.
Yeah, it's like, I must have wandered into a time rift.
Oh my god.
Just like a really blatant crossover. That'd be fantastic.
That would be.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, very good, very beautiful. The ending, not my favorite, but watch it anyway. It's very good. It's
good
very
movie.
pretty. Gets a little surreal.
Yes.
I enjoyed it though.
Not as surreal as Stalker, because Stalker doesn't understand reality. There's certain movies.
Stalker does not understand reality.
There's
An inanimate object, the movie, as an entirety.
Well,
Stalker
that's the whole thing about
doesn't
Stalker.
understand
Inanimate
the entirety
objects. Yeah.
of reality. Wow.
I mean,
That's like mind-blowing, Colin.
there are certain movies that you could convince me were made by aliens, and Stalker's one of them. Mandy's another. And the Holy Mountain is the third one.
Okay. Is
There's
that like
three.
your trinity of
Yeah.
alien movies?
Yeah.
They don't actually have aliens in them. They're
just
made
movies
by.
theoretically made by an alien.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. I like that idea.
I should get that off the table where the mic is.
Yeah, you
my
should.
apologies.
I like the idea of titling movies. These are alien films, but not because they have aliens in them. I love that idea.
Just like how Tilda Swinton's an alien. It's just like theoretically alien life exists, and it is here.
Straight up call out Tilda Swinton as an alien.
I'm sorry, I know it's an open secret, but you can tell me Tilda Swinton, Tommy Wiseau, and Neil Breen are aliens,
I'd believe
and
that.
I would
Yeah.
not be surprised.
I wouldn't question it. Yeah, you're right.
That's an odd pairing of people.
It is. Isn't it?
Two directors known for making some of the worst set films of the 21st century, and Tilda Swinton.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm still waiting for that Neil Breen film with Tommy Wiseau starring. That would be so cool.
It wouldn't.
Because you need the charm of Neil Breen's directorial style, and you need Tommy Wiseau's acting prowess, and you need Tilda Swinton to hold it all together. Three of the strangest humanoids, supposed humanoids on the face of this entire Earth.
No. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Well, like it or not, it's coming.
Alright.
The Kickstarter's up now.
Dude, I wonder how many people would back that.
Yeah. You know what really bothers me?
What
when
bothers
people
you?
do Kickstarters for projects that they have literally no control over.
Yeah.
Like, there's a Kickstarter somebody did for Half-Life 3. Like, they don't work at Valve. They're just like, this Kickstarter's to raise awareness for Half-Life 3. And it's just free money from internet sheeple.
How much money did it make?
Like, I don't know.
A lot?
I don't know. I just heard about it on an iDubbbz episode, and I didn't dig further because I'm an internet sheeple.
Alright, good.
Anyway, what's your... Oh, you did your movie of the week.
I did my movie of the week.
Do you have any other movies to talk about?
We're gonna go see Venom.
We're gonna go see Fox's attempt to recreate Deadpool without understanding what made Deadpool good.
We're gonna go see Venom.
Yes. Tom Hardy's in it.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's in it.
He talks like an idiot.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know, man.
I feel like I need to see the movie just for an explanation as to why he is like that.
That's fair.
He's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You seen
Anyway,
any other movies?
I saw Best Friends starring Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero.
I hate you.
And yeah. I also saw no, that's it. Actually no, I saw The Orphanage. And that's really good. Check out The Orphanage if you get it, if you get the chance.
How was Best Friends?
I also saw First Reformed. That was good. And Dark Places, not so good. Again, go check out our A24 request. So do you have any music to talk about?
How was Best Friends?
I don't know. Okay?
So defensive.
I saw the whole movie. I have no clue. I logged it on Letterboxd. I didn't put a rating on it for it. And I do that for literally every movie I log on Letterboxd. Because this movie defies a number rating. I mean, it was really bad, that's for sure. But I don't know to what extent. Like, I don't understand what they were trying to do. Because it's this weird, surreal art movie. You wouldn't expect it, but it is. And Tommy Wiseau's really bad in it, of course. But it's like, it feels like they know that. It feels like the filmmakers are fully aware of that. I say this because there's a lot of failed takes in the final edit of the movie where an actor says a line, and then in mid-line, Tommy Wiseau just cuts over them. And it's very apparent that wasn't supposed to happen because the actor, like, breaks character. He's like... You're nothing but and the Tommy was like, well, I'm not trouble, and they're like, oh, okay. And it breaks the fourth wall because the actor is like clearly not in character when these takes happen. They're just like, Tommy's just being an idiot again, and they left it in the movie, and I think it's because they want to do the room thing again. But the whole thing is this, it kind of loses its charm because this movie's not directed by Tommy Wiseau. It's directed by somebody who's fairly competent. It's shot, pretty well. I mean, it's very low budget, and clearly the director's not great, but there's no personality to how bad it is. It's just kind of a mediocre art movie with a really horrible lead performance that makes it fun. But the whole art aspect of it makes it slightly less fun, because it's like, it's kind of taking itself seriously, so I don't know what to think. So, I have no clue, man. I can't rate it a half star for how bad it is.
Interesting.
It's not that. And I can't rate it 5 stars for how much I enjoyed it, because it's not that either. And anything in between would just be crap shooting. It would just be a arbitrary number just to try to explain how I feel about it. And I can't do that for this movie. There's no logical explanation for what I watched. I'm adding this to the Alien quadrology, which is now what it is, because there's a fourth one.
Alright.
It's not a real movie.
It's not a real movie.
It's not a real movie.
Kind of like how I feel about Love on a Leash.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I feel about anything Neil Breen has ever made.
Yeah, kind of like that. Except, like, almost competent.
Okay, so better than all of those.
I mean, almost, like, worse, though. Better and worse.
Better and worse.
Do you know what I mean?
Kind of.
It somehow justifies its own existence less than a Neil Breen movie. Because at least the Neil Breen movie has... You know why it got made, because it's a vanity project for this aging man, who instead of buying a Ferrari, he starts making terrible movies. But Best Friends, it just kind of happened. I don't know where it came from. It just happened. I don't know, man. I'm speechless. Well, clearly not speechless, but.
I love your description of Neil Breen.
That's what it is.
I know it is.
Neil Breen's delusional. But the makers of Best Friends are not delusional. Like, they know what they're doing, but what they're doing is really bad.
Neil Breen's delusional.
Best Friends...
It's true.
Best Friends is the Transformers of bad movies. Like, they know what they're doing is terrible, but I think it's just this destructive cycle of, like, it's bad for the sake of bad, you know? It's like Sharknado, where they set out to make a bad movie. But then there's scenes where it makes you think that that's not what's going on, because I don't know. I've talked far too much about this movie.
Alright.
The Orphanage is a fantastic horror movie, and I definitely recommend you check it out. If you like subtle horror, fantastic.
Cool.
There's not a jump scare in sight, and there's some imagery that was horrific and will haunt my dreams. And the ending was happy, which was a big surprise. And you just gotta see it, just to see how it plays out, and how well shot and well made it is. And it's Spanish.
And it's Spanish.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro produced it, I believe.
Cool.
I could be wrong about that, but
cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Time for music?
Yes.
What was your song of the week?
Very much so. My song of the week, I want to go after yours because I have 3 albums to talk about, and my song's a track off one of said albums. Do you You're looking at me like you don't comprehend what I just said.
My song of the week is Me and Bobby McGee.
Have I annoyed you?
No.
Why? It's way too late.
It's 9:30.
That's too late for me,
Okay.
man.
Me and Bobby McGee by Janis Joplin. You know that hippie singer back in the day?
I do.
I was listening to her. I used
Sweet.
to listen to her a lot.
I know nothing by Janis Joplin. I know the name.
She's not a phenomenal singer.
Okay. Is this like a widely accepted thing, or the people that attacked me for saying the Beatles aren't great? Are they?
So I guess it's not right to say that she's not a good singer, because she's good, but she's very different. Her voice is very different from what is considered good. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I really like her music. She has a lot of good hits out there that I personally enjoy. She was kind of born into family and then grew up throughout the hippie era and became a big staple throughout that music era.
Okay.
And did a lot of fight the man type of stuff, living in hippie communes and whatnot.
Cool.
And she was so ugly that she would throw herself at men and they would still reject her.
Oh.
And that led her probably to do a lot of drugs.
Oh, this synopsis
and then
took
she
a turn.
died.
Okay.
From a drug overdose, I believe.
Fair.
I mean, it's very sad. That's at least kind of what the general consensus is on it.
Okay.
Very sad. She had Mercedes-Benz is a good song. Me and Bobby McGee is a really popular song, probably your biggest. And I really like her music. I kind of grew up listening to it. My mom listened to a lot of her stuff. And so I decided to take a quick trip down memory lane and listen to some of it, and I had a blast. And so this week, my song of the week is Me and Bobby McGee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. What's your song of the week?
Okay, my song of the week, I'm going to have to frame it as my album of the week because to talk about this song, you need to understand the context of the album I'm talking about. And good news, I'm not going to talk about Death Grips this week at all. I am going to talk about Caro Caro Bonito, which means I'm going to be talking about a band that's stranger than Death Grips. I'm going to compare them to Death Grips a lot, but no Death Grips. So, my album of the week is Caro Caro Bonito's newest album, which is called... I forgot the name of it. Oh, Josh just threw a bottle across the room. Hold on, let me look up the name of this album real quick. It's got some it's Time and Place. So the album is Caro Caro Bonito, Time and Place. It came out this year. It's a new one. And it is the most interesting thing. It was okay. Caro Caro Bonito's experimental hip hop group, you know the deal. They did that Flamingo song that has been my song of the week. And I think this is the first time I've done 2 songs of the week in 1 week. And this album is way different because it's a rock album. And it's a really catchy pop rock album. And really dreamy and really relaxing. And not at all grating like their previous stuff. Except in the moments where it turns into a horrifying nightmare out of nowhere. And one of these moments... You just look really angry. I don't want to make you... One of these moments is... is the song Only Acting, which is the Doki Doki Literature Club of music. And it's the reason why this album intrigues me, okay? The first 2 tracks are really, really kind of laid back pop, dream pop, catchy rock tracks, and it's really super happy. And then the third, I was getting really relaxed and really chill and really into it. Then the third track is another one of these tracks, but then halfway through, there's this breakdown, which features a lot of distorted screaming, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And then it goes right back to being really, really poppy. And I was like, okay, that was really weird. I don't know what's about that. And then the song all of a sudden stops. It cuts out, like the ending of First Reformed. And it turns into what I can only describe as a surreal fever dream nightmare from that point on out, with incredibly loud jump scare noise segments. And I was not expecting that. And then when it's over, the album keeps going and it's just pop bangers. And I was like, what's this album's deal? I was like, what's the catch? What's going on here? It's like, Cara Bonito is a pretty artsy group, and this is like a way like not artsy album for the most part. And then throughout the rest of the album, there's like moments where it gets kind of horrifying, a little out of nowhere, and it gets really dissident and really scary, but it's like really brief, and it's just, you think throughout the whole thing that like, okay, maybe it's just a one-off, but it's like we keep getting these little stings of like scary bits. I'm like, this album's so weird. Maybe it's just this weird vibe. And then the last song is just an absolute nightmare. It's just this completely distorted, glitchy, just atmospheric nightmare of a track. And it's full on death grips. And this album is the most interesting thing I've heard this album. And that's including the Death Grips album this year, because this has an element of intrigue and mystery to it, because I have no clue what's going on. Is it like a statement? Is it a statement of the hidden horrors of the like J-pop industry or something? Probably. So yeah. My song is, I keep having to look at it because they have really generic names. Only Acting is my song of the week. Pretty good song, pretty good horror track.
You know what, Colin?
Yeah.
You missed a fantastic opportunity.
What's that?
You could have texted me or called me.
Yeah.
And said, hey,
yeah.
Josh, you need to listen to this album. We're going to talk about it on the podcast. Yeah. And I would have started listening to that album.
Well, I considered that. I posted about this on the Discord. I knew you probably wouldn't read it, and I thought, I think the reason I didn't do that is I did kind of spoil it for you unknowingly when I hadn't heard the whole album. I think I sent you a text saying the third track of this album is got Death Grip screaming in it. And then after that, when I realized that it's this whole thing with the album being like a surprise horror album, that probably ruined the surprise, so I didn't even bother.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, okay.
You could have got me. You could have pranked me.
I suggest you listen to the song.
I might just listen to this album.
Yeah, go for it. It's actually a super fun, chill album, and the horror elements take a backseat. It's really only 2 songs. It's a good album beyond that, but like, I don't know what their message is. I don't know what the point of the album is. I want to like look into it because it feels like it's trying to be self-aware. But it's also just a good album, so it gets a recommendation from me either way because the tracks are pretty decent. It's very different from Cara Bonito. There's like no rap in it. It's just all singing and rock songs. So it's like,
alright.
It's interesting, yeah.
Cool. Why didn't you look up this stuff when I was talking about Bobby McGee?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to be prepared.
That's fair.
Yeah, I probably should have sprung it on you. But actually, the jump scare part of that song is so startling that I didn't really want to do that to you.
Damn.
Wow. No, it's genuinely gave me a heart attack. I was just listening to it. I was like, this is getting weird. And then it's just I'm like, ah! It's like 10 it's like 10 decibels above what can kill the human ear. I was like, oh man.
All right.
And yet it's my song of the week because I just hate myself, I guess.
Cool.
What's your song? You said your song of the week already.
Jesus Christ, Colin.
Do you want to talk about Iridescence, or do you want to talk about the new Hippocampus album?
Well, we're going to push Iridescence to the end.
Okay. Want me to talk about the Hippocampus?
Yeah.
Sick. Did you know there's a new Hippocampus out?
I've briefly heard you say there was a new Hippocampus album.
Yes.
I haven't listened to it yet.
I don't have a lot to say about it. I like it. It's way different. They're very It's a very electronic album as opposed to their last album, which is very, pop rock. This is very full on pop, which is okay. I don't know. They're going a different album.
What?
They're I meant to say they're going a different direction.
There you
but
go.
My words are jumbled. There's a quote from the front man of Hippocampus, and I think he said it was like the thought that came into my mind was, do we want to make another Hippocampus album, or do we want to reinvent the concept of a Hippocampus album? And I'm like, you are so pretentious, but I like your music, so keep at it. But yeah, that's what this feels like. It has no similarities to Hippocampus's previous music. It kind of sounds like a different band, which is cool. I actually like when bands do that. They just kind of reinvent their sound.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it as much as Landmark. I don't think it's as solid of an album, but for an experiment, sure, it's great. Check
Cool.
it out.
Very cool.
It's called Bambi,
Yeah.
which is amazingly not copyrighted. So see it and listen to it.
I wonder if that's like a name of a person.
I'm sure.
Like, and that's why it's not copyrighted.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
Alright. Anything else to talk about other than Brockhampton?
No, not really.
Alright, well then I'll dig into my stuff before we get into Brockhampton.
Sick.
I listened to the Super Mario World soundtrack.
Good.
It's good.
Good.
If you don't know it, listen to it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've never played Super Mario World. It's the one Mario game, the one big Mario game that I haven't played.
I've played about 5 minutes of it.
Okay.
But I love that soundtrack so much. I've looked it up many times.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's that one. No, that's
Okay.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then I also listened to the Donkey Kong Country 3 soundtrack, which is also very good.
I love the soundtrack of the first Donkey Kong Country, but
Yeah, that's good too.
I have not heard any of the others.
Oh, Donkey Kong Country 3 is good. And 2. They're all good. Listen to the Donkey Kong Country soundtracks. They're good.
A game about a monkey with a good soundtrack is a very rare thing.
Why you smile like that? That wasn't funny. I don't know what you're going with. What? Colin, you can't.
Yeah.
It really is too late for you, isn't it?
Keep going. I'm good. I can make it.
Can you?
No.
Okay.
So far, this is less long than the A24 quest. It feels like it's been 2 hours.
It kind of does.
Let's keep going.
Alright. Like I said, Janis Joplin, very good, but I also decided to go back and listen to some more music of my past that I haven't listened to in a while, such as Johnny Cash.
Wow. What did you listen to?
Johnny Cash.
Cool. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. That's Elvis. One for the money.
No.
Two for... Okay. Setting the woods on fire. West Virginia.
No.
Oh.
Alright.
Yeah.
You want to hear the tracks in particular I was looking up?
Yeah. Well, I sung all of them, didn't I?
No.
Okay.
So you have the classic Folsom Prison Blues, which is
yeah.
a good old song.
I just did sound for a band that played that live.
Yeah.
No, 2. I did no, this is a real thing. I have done sound for 2 bands in the past month, and they've both played that song.
Awesome.
So I've been listening to it a lot too, just not the original.
Yeah. Cool. So I, of course, had to listen to that one.
Cool.
One of the best.
Did you listen to Ring of Fire?
I did briefly,
Cool.
but then I remembered there's better Johnny Cash songs.
Burn. Burn, burn.
Burn. You only did 2 burns.
Well, the first one was the first.
Oh.
The burn.
See, but you didn't continue it. Okay, never mind.
That was a perfectly executed joke, and I think you need to take that back.
I mean, no.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
won't. A Boy Named Sue, which is a phenomenal comedy song by
Yes.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I like it.
And then another comedy song by Johnny Cash that I believe is even better is One Piece at a Time.
I haven't heard of it.
Oh, that was almost my song of the week.
There's something kind of charming about those old country legends doing comedy songs, because they got this real, like, homely sense of humor. It's just, like, it's relaxing.
One Piece
it's like grandpa telling jokes.
Yeah. One Piece at a Time is about Johnny Cash working at a GM factory and jealous that everybody was seeing all the Cadillacs go by, so he starts taking it one piece at a time.
Okay.
That's the whole song.
What, he steals jam from the jam factory? I don't get the joke.
He steals parts of Cadillacs, one piece at a time.
And then he builds them in his
from
work.
GM.
Oh.
Goes back
Oh,
home to
you said
his
GM. I thought you said he said he works in a jam factory.
Oh, no.
And I was like, how does that relate to a Cadillac?
No.
Sorry, my bad.
Colin.
My bad.
I know you don't know a whole lot about cars, but
It sounded like you said jam.
I'm sorry. My articulation. English isn't my first language.
That's true.
But I love that song.
Technically, English is none of our first language. Our first language is baby.
Yeah.
Everybody's first language is baby, and then they have to learn the language of their choosing.
Technically is your own language because it doesn't share an actual language with anybody else.
Yeah.
It shares a lot of the same sounds.
Baby is the truest form of human language.
Yeah.
Everything else was just because of the Tower of Babel. Do you think that's how people talked before the Tower of Babel? They're just like, goo goo gaga.
Yeah, I'm sure they all mentioned it as they were talking about the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yes. Clearly I don't understand the story of Tower of Babel.
You know, Babel. My favorite tower.
Babel.
It's not a good joke. It's not even a joke.
Well, yeah, it is.
Is it?
Do you think everybody, before the Tower of Babel, they started talking, like babies?
That's a joke.
Yes.
But what you said wasn't a joke.
That's what I said.
You just referred to the Tower of Babylon as the Tower of Babel.
No, I'm talking about the Tower of Babel. Like Babel. Babel, you could also call it. I think I might be... Wait, am I not the dumb one here? That's a twist. Josh just
The twist is we're both idiots.
Yeah,
That's
I was
okay.
like, what's your problem?
I don't know.
Is it Babel or Babel?
I think it's Babel.
I feel like Babel sounds better because that also sounds like you're saying Babble, and it's all about talking.
Maybe.
But Babel is probably more correct. Well, I think it's the Babel fish in Hitchhiker's Guide, or they say Babel fish. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. What else did you listen to?
Beach Boys.
Cool.
And then I realized Beach Boys only have about 5 good songs. I'm joking, Colin.
Don't do pet sounds wrong.
I'm joking,
like that.
Colin.
Alright.
But I like 5 songs of theirs. I listen to those 5 songs, and then I listen to Joe Bonamassa, or Bonamassa, depending on how you want to say it.
Sweet.
He's a blues guy. He's very good. Listen to him if you like the blues. And then I listen to the Marcus King Band, which is also a blues band. If you like blues, listen to it. It's very good.
Sweet. It occurs to me that I listen to a lot of bands that take that are rock with blues flavors, like songs by Led Zeppelin and like Royal Blood, but I don't listen to a lot of actual blues. I feel like I can only palate blues when it's like blues rock.
Diluted.
Yeah. I think that's how I feel about blues. Actual blues, full on blues, can't handle it.
All right.
That's my thing with.
I'm gonna ask you something now.
What's that?
Why?
I don't know. I just don't go out of my way to listen to bands that's full on blues, but I always I love Jack White. I always appreciate a good blues rock song, but I just don't listen to blues that much.
Is it because you just haven't before?
I think so. I think it's because I'm more of a rock guy, so my only exposure to blues has been through blues influenced rock artists. I think that's probably it. So I should listen to some full on blues one of these days.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. You know what else I listened to today?
What?
I listened to the Pokey Rap.
Oh, okay.
See, I came into this
Is that a
room today.
rap about those little things that get caught in your socks when you walk through a
Colin, you
field?
need to stop.
Okay.
That was a little mean, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That was very mean. It wasn't supposed to sound that mean. Colin, I love you. Pokey Rap. I walked into this room today, and I'm like, Colin, guess what I listened to? And I said, the Pokey Rap. And he's like, what's that? It's the biggest disgrace I've ever experienced.
I thought he was talking about a song by Starbomb or something. I haven't watched the original Pokemon series in eons.
So,
Yeah.
at the end of the original Pokemon series, at the very end of the episode, they would have a segment of the Pokey Rap play.
Yeah.
Where this man would just rap Pokemon names.
Okay.
For like a minute.
Sick. You think he can do it?
No.
Okay.
It's edited together. Very poorly.
You're such a good rapper that you don't even need...
But the point is that it's Pokemon, so it's good.
Good. Okay. That's what everybody
I can't believe you don't know about the Pokey Rap.
You know me.
I'm kind of baffled, but I shouldn't be.
I'm not a big fan of Pokemon.
I think you should leave.
That's fair. It is my house, but I'll just let you take this one tonight. I'll go sleep on the streets. No, I did watch that show as a kid, but I think I repressed most of it. I'm not a big Pokemon guy.
I know. I should have known before I said it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had Chris here so we could talk about the Pokey Rap.
Well, we'll be seeing him in a couple days. So.
Yeah, well, and I'll probably talk to him about it then.
Yeah.
And just like leave you as a weird fourth wheel.
Yeah.
Fourth.
Well, fourth wheel doesn't really work because a four-wheeled vehicle is fully functional.
I mean, three-wheeled vehicles are functional.
Isn't the whole... Where does the third wheel...
Well, because two pair up.
Right.
And then one's left on its own.
Yeah, equally as functional, but like not working in tandem with something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to be working in tandem with somebody else while I talk about the Pokey Rap with Chris.
Which is weird because that means the person I'm working in tandem with is Chris's girlfriend's.
Yeah, which you probably won't be working in tandem with
in this instance. Okay.
So imagine a vehicle where you got two wheels that are on the same axis, right?
Yeah.
And then you're over here.
Yeah.
And then she's like over here.
Yes.
That's how it's going to be.
Cool beans.
For like 10 minutes while we talk about the Pokey Rap.
Speaking of wheels, quick shout out to our boy Wheels Justice.
Yeah! Like, we forgot about this last
week. But,
Wheels, congratulations on starting your series of Nintendo games.
Yes, I edited together a little trailer for him, and he's posted it. He was gracious enough to let me illegally download all of his videos and make this trailer.
I mean, if he gave you the okay, then it's not illegal.
Well, he could sue me if he wanted to.
Not
I'm just
now.
saying.
You're not using it for gain.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I made a trailer. It was initially I was just trying out my hand at making a best of because I wanted to try my hand at making a best of compilation. I kind of did that with the movie Rad, which actually has a fair amount of views now. Thank you, YouTube, whoever's watching it. I don't know because I didn't promote it anywhere. It just the views started coming. I don't know where they came from.
Turns out Rad is a very popular movie.
Yeah, apparently, the movie that nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying out my hand at doing a best of, and then as I was doing it, and I was thinking like, he's making videos so quick, I can't even keep up with it, and I was like, I need to like find a cutoff point. And then I realized this would work pretty good as like a channel trailer, and then so I thought like, I told him, hey, instead of uploading this best of to my channel, I'm just gonna give it to you, and you upload it there and make it your channel trailer. And he's like, cool beans.
And it is.
Yeah.
And last time we checked, he released a Mahjong video.
A Mahjong video, and it's the best video.
It's the best video.
On YouTube.
Definitely
go watch it.
Go type on your YouTube's Wheel Justice, click on that channel, hit subscribe, ring the bell, comment, like every video, watch the Mahjong.
Yeah.
Mahjong.
And his take on a Let's Play series is pretty unique too, because he's playing every game on a Nintendo system and every licensed Nintendo game on non-Nintendo systems, which means like every day he plays a new game. And so far there's been plenty of games that I didn't even realize existed.
Really?
Yeah. Including the pinball on the NES, which was worked on by Satoru Iwata, I want to say, who would go on to become the president of Nintendo.
You didn't know that?
I had no clue.
Okay.
I watched his pinball video and I learned that.
Really?
So it's an educational series to me, especially his Mahjong video. And it's a fantastic channel. Go check it out.
Yeah.
I learned a whole ton about Mahjong that day. Let me tell you.
I love Mahjong.
Same. Actually, no, I don't play it, but...
You know? Have
no,
you ever?
My dad's really into it. I'm not really. I have played it. I know how to play it, but I don't even think I remember how to play it.
It's very calming.
Yeah. When I want to play a calming game, I play Galaga.
It's like even more calming than that.
Nothing's more calming than Galaga.
That's not true. Galaga can be stressful.
Not if you're good.
Even when you're good.
Get good.
If you're good, I think it's more stressful because then you want to be better.
No. You're actually you're actually going against what you've said about the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, but like Dark Souls doesn't have an increasing difficulty that just keeps going to infinity.
Yeah.
Galaga does.
I mean, it might as well be to infinity as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, sure, maybe for you, but not me.
Fair enough.
Does Galaga have a cutoff point for you?
No. I've never gotten past like level 10 in Galaga. I think 15 is my record because I'm bad at that game.
Me too.
I'm really bad at it.
I like it,
but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a recommendation for you. There's a series.
Galaga?
Yes. There's a series of videos on YouTube. This guy, it's Dark Souls in one hit. He did the whole Dark Souls series.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, right. I figured you would have. I just wanted to make sure you had. I was watching before you came
cool.
over. Yeah, apparently there's a method to beat any boss in one hit.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Music?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Wheels. So, shout out to Wheels. Seriously, go check out our channel. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He does cool videos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brockhampton. We haven't even gotten to Brockhampton yet. You still have more things to talk about?
I just want to keep talking about the Poke Rap for another 20 minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
But I think I'm going to let it slide.
Alright.
This once.
Let's
talk about some
somebody
Brockhampton.
send Josh a message on Discord and ask him to explain the Poke Rap and its origin.
And its origin?
Yeah.
Let's talk about iridescence.
Iridescence.
We were told to listen to this weeks ago.
And we finally did.
I
did today while I was playing a little Defense Grid 2.
And I did today and yesterday and the day before while driving in my car.
Like the whole thing all the way through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
It's a pretty good album.
I actually found that I like approximately 50% of this album.
That's fair. I'm about there too.
Yeah.
There are two songs. Oh, here I have them saved. I gotta look them up. There are two songs that I actually put on good songs because I liked them a lot.
Are they the two songs that I also enjoyed?
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Oh, my Spotify's offline. Okay,
Good.
What are the two songs you enjoyed? Can I look at the track list real quick on your phone? Because my Spotify's doing that thing where it says I'm offline even though I'm not.
That is so funny. I'm going to go to your good songs playlist and we're going to find those two new songs.
You're going to have to scroll way to the bottom though. There's almost 400 songs in
That's
there
fine.
now.
It'll be real quick.
Alright.
Yeah, we're already there. Wait and Tape.
Yes. Those are my two favorite songs off the album. I nearly added the second to last song on there. That was really good. I didn't. I don't know. I just decided against it.
Okay, so New Orleans, right? Opening track. This kind of sets the tone for the whole album. It's got this weird bipolarness to it where it goes up and down all over the place. But it really does actually a decent job setting the tone for what the rest of this album is going to be. But in a lot slower pace.
Yes.
Because it's not all bipolar songs across the board, like going up and down, fast and slow, and just crazy.
Mm-hmm. What I didn't realize about Brockhampton was how emo they are.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. And it did actually, once I realized how emotional the lyrics for a lot of these songs are, was more into it. I'll say the first track didn't do a great job of pulling me in because I was just like, okay, the flow's decent, but this is just the kind of rap I don't like. You know, it's...
I like the solid, one verse of that song.
Right. It's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine rap. The vocalists do a good job with what with what they're trying to convey, but it's just background noise at a party that I don't particularly want to be at. Is how I describe that song.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
I'm not a huge fan of this whole brand of rap. The album did get better for me as it went along. And Wait was the first track on there where I was like, yes, I'm getting into this now. But I will say ultimately it's a well put together album, but it's not my thing for the most part. There are songs where it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So this is how it went for me, right? So you got New Orleans, and I'm like, okay, so there was a little bit of cool in there, and then there was a lot of bit of I don't really care in there.
Yeah.
Thug Life happened.
Yep.
Berlin
whatever.
hit. And I actually had a part in Berlin that I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. There's some really good flow on this album.
Yes.
There's some
fantastic
flow, I will say. Lyricism is on point.
Mm-hmm. So Berlin was the first one that I'm like, yes, this part is good. I want more of that. And then the rest of the song just kind of went on its way.
Yeah.
And then Something About Him hit, and I hated it. I didn't like Something About Him.
I kind of liked that one.
I didn't like
because it was this weird kind of emo. That was the first track where it wasn't like a club banger like New Orleans is. It was more like a sensitive song. So I kind of liked it because it introduced me to that side of the album.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to where that side of the album is a part that I actually enjoyed, but I didn't like that song in particular.
Okay, fair. It's like the rough first draft of what the album would get better later on. Okay,
I the cash at was awful.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that
one.
It was just really generic, get that money.
Yes. Wait, very good.
Okay, we agree on that one. Wait was phenomenal.
District and Loophole, I don't remember a lot about the two of them, but I remember liking them more than the earlier tracks.
Loophole leads into Tape.
It does.
It's an interlude that leads into Tape, and those two songs together work well. District, whatever.
I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
Tape also had very, very good parts that made me go, yeah, no, I like this. I like this part.
Yes, absolutely.
Then I don't even know how to pronounce the one. Jovert.
Oh, Javert. Like the character from Les Miserables.
You think I've seen Les Miserables?
Well, I mean, it's actually that one's J.A. Vert, but I just call it Javert. I don't know.
Okay.
That's just how I pronounced it in my head, and I'm sticking with it.
From this point down, the album gets progressively better for me. I mean, not this point, but I mean, I guess from the top down, this album got better for me.
Yeah, I kind of
Really.
agree. I was like, the first couple tracks, I wasn't really with it, but by the end, I was into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got Javert, which had even more parts that I enjoyed than like Berlin and whatnot. And then Honey happened, and Honey was all right. Like I don't have any big either which way.
Yeah.
Vivid kind of the same way, but like it's getting better. San Marcos, didn't really care about. It was alright. Didn't really care about.
Yeah, I was looking forward to San Marcos because San Marcos and the song after it were what Roberto said were his two favorite tracks on the album, and San Marcos sounds like a mid-90s emo rock song, and it was kind of underwhelming. But then the song after it has the same vibe to that one. But what's the next song called? Tanya.
Which I loved.
Which actually takes that vibe and does something interesting with it.
I like Tanya a lot.
Yes. That's the one that I nearly added to good songs as well.
And then I actually really...
Because that one's just this really emotional like piano ballad.
And it's very good.
It was really sweet, yeah.
And then I actually really liked Fabric as well, which is the album closer.
I don't remember much about it. I was still like... At that point, I was not really paying attention, but...
Ouch. But yeah, so that is our take on Iridescence. As a whole, I think there's a lot going on, and I think a lot of it is good, and I think a lot of it is really bad. To me, personally.
And this kind of plays into the inconsistency of the entire idea of a rap supergroup that I was talking about last week. I think it absolutely did show some inconsistency in the tones and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I like the deep voice rapper guy.
Yeah. There was a kind of higher voice rapper guy that always had really fast flow.
Yeah, there was one that got really aggressive that I really liked.
Yeah.
I don't remember what song that was.
He actually did, it reminded me of JPEG Mafia, where he's like rapping and he just starts like, it builds an intensity to the point where he's just screaming it. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that was very good.
That JPEG Mafia sound that I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my take on Brockhampton. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it otherwise. But yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that wraps up music.
Rap. So yeah, solid album. Give it a listen.
Yeah, if you like rap, it's definitely worth a listen.
If you like emo rap, it's an emo rap album. I didn't even know that. Check it out. If you like songs talking about very serious like mental issues and whatnot, you'll like it because it does delve into that and it's really cool.
Yeah.
I also gave Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown a quick re-listen, and I also liked it a lot. Oh, no, wait. Yes, I did do that, but I also gave Denzel Curry's latest album, which I don't think I've even talked about on this show. Denzel Curry's latest album, Taboo. I gave it a quick re-listen, and I like it even more on the second time around. I think it's really growing on me. I liked it the first time, but it's the kind of album that benefits from a re-listen because it's a concept album, and like when you understand the whole vibe that it's going for and the like 3-act structure that it presents, it benefits from a re-listen. So
cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Have you listened to that yet?
I've listened to part of it, yeah.
It's a super good album. I recommend it. Even if you don't really like Denzel Curry's style, which it's hit or miss for me, but I think that was a good one.
Alright. Want to talk about TV for a hot second?
Cool, yeah.
Now, Colin.
Hey now, fellas. What's cooler
than
being cool? Ice cold.
cold.
I can't hear you. I said now, fellas.
What's cooler
than being cool? Ice cold.
All right.
Okay.
Hey now, ladies. Yeah.
I forget the rest of it.
Oh.
Hey ya.
We just turned this to a Bible study group.
Hey ya.
It's like Kumbaya, but worse.
Yeah, well, that's how that song goes. It always gave a weird Bible study feel.
Did it?
Yeah, Hey Ya by
Okay.
Outkast.
I don't believe that, but alright.
Hey Ya. It's probably because I saw a church choir sing it once.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Let's talk about TV for a second.
Okay, cool.
Do you wish there was a TV show out there that had Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, and Tony Danza in it?
I mean, no, but...
Well, you should.
Yeah?
It's
like, I didn't realize I wanted it, but...
It exists.
Cool. Is this like a new thing?
No.
Or an old thing?
It's an old thing.
Well, cool. What is it?
It's called Taxi.
Oh,
Andy Kaufman.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I'm familiar with Taxi. I didn't know it had those three wonderful people in it.
Yeah, it does.
That's cool.
So yeah, that exists, and I've been watching bits and pieces of it, and there are some really, really funny bits in it.
Sweet.
And there's also
are we talking like 80s or 90s?
Older, 80s.
Okay. Yeah.
I think 80s. I should probably look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has some very, very funny parts in it, and it also has some very, very inappropriate parts in it for this day and age, which is starting to become more and more clear the older I get.
Yeah.
Like some really misogynistic thing.
Watch early episodes of The Office, The American Office.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's some stuff that you couldn't get away with these days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing because I consider The American Office a pretty modern show, but it is like a decade old at this point, if not more so. So
yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
It is.
But yeah, this show exists, and it has some really stinking funny parts in it. So there has been times where I've wanted to like text you and been like, look up Taxi episode this, timestamp this, just for you to see like one bit.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it because I feel like this show just needs to be enjoyed more.
Okay.
So if you ever actually get back into TV, which I don't see in your foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's true.
This is something I would suggest giving a watch.
You know what's crazy about my whole TV thing?
What?
I had a breakthrough recently where you may have noticed I was watching more TV stuff. Like I was watching Twin Peaks and BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
And I finished season 1 of both those shows, and I haven't started season 2 of BoJack Horseman. I watched the first episode of Twin Peaks season 2, and that was like 3 weeks ago, and I haven't continued. So I'm falling back into my little pit of no TV. So, yeah, I would tell you that I'll check out Taxi when I get the chance, but I know I'd be lying to you.
Yeah. If you ever get a wild hair, it's such a good thing to just throw on in the background. You know, it's there's some phenomenal bits in it.
Yeah.
It's a very, I never really heard about this show, like maybe vaguely over, adult conversations growing up, but like,
yeah,
dang.
The only context I've ever heard this show spoken of was just in the, hey, remember Taxi kind of way? Yeah. Or, yeah.
And I honestly, I feel like I've missed something not growing up with this show.
Cool.
Because there are some very, very funny parts.
I'll tell you what, I'll try to watch at least an episode of it sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're just gonna pick a random episode, I suggest season 2.
Alright.
Somewhere in season 2. Maybe I don't know. I haven't actually watched a ton of it, but a couple episodes I've seen are just funny, and I plan on watching more.
Alright, great.
So, that's what I have on TV, and then I think we're on to the next thing, which is video games.
Cool. I got a couple things to talk about.
Let's talk about some video games.
Do you want me to start out?
Yeah.
Sure. I got a new game that I've been playing called The Way Remastered.
The Way.
And I have no clue when this game was released. I probably should have looked this up. It is a remaster of an older game.
How is it spelled? It's spelled
W-A-Y.
Oh, not like W-H-E-Y?
No, that would be way more swole. Yeah. I should make a mod of The Way called The Way, and it's just the same thing, but everybody's got big muscles. Yeah. Anyway, The Way is super interesting, and the game starts, it opens up, and the title screen is a grave. It's a 2D platformer pixel art, kind of in the same style as like the original Prince of Persia, where it's like pixel art 2D, but like with really fluid animation, that kind of thing, and it looks really neat. And it opens up, and it's just this graveyard raining, and a man standing by the graveyard, and it's like press X to new game or whatever. You hit new game, and then the menu text fades away, and the man takes out a shovel and he starts digging up the grave, and he takes a body out of the ground and he walks away, and you're controlling him, and then that's how the game starts, and you take the body back to your apartment, and it becomes apparent that the body is your recently deceased wife, and you put her into this capsule, like this cryogenic freezing chamber, and you move the capsule into a big truck, and you take it to the building where you work, because you're a scientist at this like space exploration lab or whatever, and you break in and you steal a spaceship, and you, with your wife's body, you travel to an alien planet to find the secret of immortality. And it's a very bizarre premise, very like melancholy, but also just like cheesy in like a 1950s B movie kind of way. And it's really interesting. It's a puzzle game. I've gotten through the whole facility segment, but that takes like 2 hours of like finding out, like sneaking past security and finding out various like puzzle solutions. And eventually you get a laser pistol and you can just shoot all the security bots, and it's so satisfying. And yeah, it's super interesting. I'm playing it on the Switch, and honestly, the entire reason I bought it is I got a memory card for the Switch, and I just wanted to buy a really cheap game just to make sure that it worked. I probably could have just transferred it game over, but I'm a capitalist, so I I just went to the deal segment, and I found that this game looked kind of neat. I read the synopsis. It was like $1, and I was like, cool, I'll check it out. And I'm actually liking it a great deal. So if you want a kind of retro style 2D platforming puzzle game, give it a shot.
Cool.
So that's my new game. And then my old games are a 100%ed Spider-Man. And I have nothing more to say about it other than I've already have. And I have 100%ed Mario Odyssey. And that is to say I've gotten all 999 moons. And I have nothing more to say about that than what I already have. So there we go.
Cool.
What games have you been playing?
Bioshock Infinite.
Cool. What do you think?
It's alright.
I agree.
I got to the part where she cuts her hair.
Sick.
That's about it. Played
Yeah.
a little bit more Hollow Knight.
Right.
I beat another boss.
Yeah.
It was cool. I really like Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
I don't really have anything to say about it. It's so open that, like, the story is very open.
Yeah.
Something that you'd actually have to, like, search for. Very Dark Souls-esque in that regard.
Yes, yes.
And I haven't done that yet.
Yes.
So I don't know where in the story I am.
Yeah.
Bioshock Infinite. She cut her hair. There's been some weird time rift things. Not a big fan of the time rift things yet.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah. Spyro coming. Very excited. Mega Man 11 just dropped.
Yeah, I'll probably pick that up when it's on sale.
Yeah, me too. They have the Master Bundle, which I'm very sad that exists now.
What is it?
It's Mega Man X, all of them, Mega Man Original, all of them, and Mega Man 11.
Wow.
Yeah,
How much does that cost?
$60.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm bummed
Why?
because I've already bought the original two Mega Mans. On the upside, the
Yeah.
cost of just Mega Man X, the complete series, plus Mega Man 11 is about the same as $60.
Yeah.
So I might still do
Well,
it
if
when
you
it
wanted
goes
to
on
get
sale.
if you wanted to get the Mega Man X remaster, re-release, it's kind of a remaster. It's basically just a re-release though. The two of them together are $40.
Yeah, and then the new game for Mega Man 11 is, what, 30?
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean,
yeah,
it's
it
still
would
a deal.
be more cost effective to just get the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the first half of the X Legacy collection. So for me, it wouldn't be more cost effective. I would probably just... And I don't really have any interest in the later X games, except for... X5 is a guilty pleasure of mine, but I very much understand that the whole series kind of the earlier games are the better ones. So I probably would just skip right to Mega Man 11 if it's all the same to you.
I don't care.
I know.
Oh, but Mega Man 11 looks really cool, and I'm kind of upset that I don't already own it. But then again, I also don't want to be spending that much money right now.
Fair enough.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey's out, and
is it?
Yeah, it is.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Assassin's
When
Creed
did that happen?
I don't know, recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's out, and
I didn't realize that was out.
It is.
Wow.
And oh yeah, is it just me? Well, I suppose you wouldn't know. Is it just me, or does Assassin's Creed Odyssey look like just not good? In the sense that Assassin's Creed Origins was interesting, but I expected them to move on from that idea and like progress and make it more fleshed out experience, because Assassin's Creed.
Colin, did you just say that you expected Ubisoft or Ubisoft to go from Assassin's Creed
Origins,
which did gangbusters and made $1 billion?
Yeah.
You expect them to go from that and make a brand new thing that's different?
Well, no, I expected them to take that and then turn it into something like better. Because Assassin's Creed Origins was like an interesting, from what I played and saw of it, it's an interesting idea, but it's like I feel like it could stand to be fleshed out a little more. But I don't know, like the footage I've seen of Odyssey almost looks like it's like regressed. It looks it looks very unsatisfying to play, and it's just so uninteresting looking, and it's like I feel like it'd just be a boring grind. And yet all the reviews are like 10 out of 10, best game in the series. So like I don't know who to believe, my own instinct or the now that I think about it, I probably shouldn't believe the reviewers, to be honest with you, with a series like this, but I don't know. It's just the footage just does not excite me whatsoever.
Well, I'll tell you right now, we have an oversaturation of the market of Assassin's Creed as a whole. It should have taken years, couple year-long breaks.
Well, it's going in an interesting direction now, because these new Assassin's Creed games are essentially, it's like a new series now. Because like Odyssey and Origins are so far removed from the previous Assassin's Creed games that it's like...
Well, and that's all due to, Unity.
Yeah.
Unity destroyed.
Kind of killed the series.
And
well, there was Syndicate after that.
Syndicate happened, but it wasn't enough to pull back what Unity had done.
Right.
You know?
You know, the funny thing about Unity is that apparently it was actually a pretty good game, but the internet blew up the fact that there was a couple funny glitches, and then everybody hated it.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how ridiculous the gaming community online is.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not trying to defend Ubisoft, but it's like, we hate games for some pretty arbitrary reasons sometimes.
Well, and that's why I still defend Ukulele.
Right. Well, yeah, the whole thing with Ukulele, and I'm guilty of this too, is everybody kind of wanted to hate Ukulele, like people were excited for it when it came out, and it wasn't quite as good as the original Banjo-Kazooie games.
It wasn't.
They're like, well, my childhood's ruined, and this is the worst game ever.
Well,
but it probably isn't.
What a stupid response. That game that came out years later ruined my childhood.
Well, I don't know how many people were saying that, but like...
I mean, I'm sure it's happened though. Like, what a stupid saying that is.
Right.
That thing ruined my childhood.
But what you're saying is Ukulele's not that bad?
No, it's not. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I do. I think it's fun.
I own it.
You do?
I haven't played it.
Alright.
I just haven't.
I mean, you don't have to.
No,
I'm not telling anybody they have to go play it, but I enjoyed it personally. I think it was like way overhated.
Yeah.
Not overrated. Haha, overhated.
Fair enough.
Created a new word today.
Yeah. Well, and it's just... This kind of ties into this whole thing that I've been struggling with, where it's like... The internet tells you have to hate and protests and boycott every single game released by EA because it's a horrible company. They never do anything good. But it's like I just don't really like. I don't really fall by that ideology, you know? The idea that it's just a foregone conclusion that this no game released by the studio will be good, especially since it's been blatantly proven to be not true.
Yeah.
Unravel just came out and everybody generally liked that game. That was an EA game.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 was great and nobody played it because it was an EA release and people were kind of boycotting EA at the time. I played it. It was great, but nobody else was playing it. And then there was actually the internet had this whole resurgence of Titanfall 2. They were like, oh, Titanfall 2 came out a couple of years ago, and none of us played it because we're all, boycotting EA, but it's actually really good. And it's like, you should just you should just judge games on an individual basis,
Yeah.
EA, despite the fact that everybody loves to demonize them, and rightfully so, they've ruined a lot of good games. That is fair to say.
They make a lot of questionable choices as far as their business model.
You also, it's just like, I don't really believe that you should deprave yourself of potentially good games because the company behind it is a big, has this big pitchfork mob after it on the internet,
Yeah, mob mentality ruins a lot of things.
Yeah,
all over the place,
And again, I don't want to paint this like I'm defending EA. Like I said, I mean EA, it's right to hate it, but it's just like I'm of the mentality where it's like, if it's a fun game, and I'm told I have a moral obligation to not buy it, I don't know, I just don't fall into that mentality. It's like if I want to play it, I'll go play it.
Yeah, I get that.
Maybe people would say I'm what's wrong with the game industry for thinking that way, but it's just like I'm not trying to.
Actually, I think that's like the only way to fix the gaming industry.
Well, no, but see that's the thing. What I'm advocating is complacency, and complacency is not a good thing.
Okay, well that's not what I thought you were advocating.
No. What? I'm not advocating complacency. What I'm saying is that's the ideal that I've adopted. That it looks like I'm. Well, it is kind of what I'm doing because it's like some would argue I'm being complacent by supporting games like Titanfall 2, because despite it being a good game, I need to make a stand against EA and their bad business practices. One could make that argument.
No, because that's not what's going to fix the gaming industry.
Well, the people think, boycotts do.
Just because a company is big doesn't make them evil. Doesn't make them bad at making things.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's what the mob mentality on the internet is.
Yeah, well, and they're dumb. That's fine. They can be dumb.
Yeah.
They're the internet.
Yeah.
As a whole. Like, I mean, it's like, people saying it's don't go see the next Marvel movie because it's just going to be the same as all of them. It's like, shut up. I'm going to enjoy myself with the next Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's not even what I'm talking about. Like you're talking about the idea that all the Marvel movies are basically the same thing, which they kind of are, but we can still enjoy it. It's just harmless fun. What I'm talking about is moral obligation as consumers to not support industries that do these things, like when I pay, I think I paid like $20 for Titanfall 2. When I pay that $20, that's $20 going towards the company that the internet believes is ruining the game industry.
Yeah,
and I am doing a disservice to the game industry by doing so.
But that $20 is going towards a game that you legitimately enjoyed, telling that company that you want more of that product.
Yeah.
And if that product is good and good by your standards, then no, you're not ruining the gaming industry. You're improving it for yourself.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. My choice is a selfish one. And that's... I'm just kind of okay with that.
Do you think that giving money to support a game that was good in your regard is being generally selfish and ruining the entire gaming industry for everyone?
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's the whole idea people have about these things. Like you can't, like I do know people who they will never buy an EA game because regardless of like what people hear about it, if EA is attached to it, they will not buy it because they're completely boycotting the company. And it's like, I get that mentality. That's the activist mentality.
Why are they boycotting it specifically?
Because they want EA to go out of business. Because in their minds, EA... Well, and to be fair, like, I talk about it like I don't agree with them, but in a certain extent I do agree with them. EA has bad business practices, but it's just like... The idea is if enough people... If the public hatred of EA gets so strong that, like, everybody just... This is just the ideal situation. It will probably never happen, but... So many people hate EA that nobody buys their games and their sales plummet, then they either have to, cater to the people who are boycotting their games and be more like, okay, this is what you want, this is what you get, and, as a byproduct, make their games better, or they just, go out of business. So...
See, but the problem with this is that if you just tear down one big company, there's just going to be another big company.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like there's plenty of companies that there's always going to be another EA because the EA's business practices make them a lot of money. And the reason they make them a lot of money is there's a lot of people that buy into it.
Now, we're talking specifically about EA and their use of wringing the money out of every last penny out of every last drop of the game.
Releasing unfinished games and like charging money to finish them. And then, the microtransactions and their awful cynical, greedy business practices. Yeah.
All right, so that's...
It's nothing
it's
to
good
do
to
with
put that out there.
It's nothing to do with the quality of the games because some of them are fine games.
Yeah.
It's more to do with their business practices.
Now, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company here.
Yes.
All right? So this company is massive beyond my personal comprehension because I don't actually know how large it runs. Yeah. I know it's big. That's what I know.
Yes.
But you're talking about this business as in the entire thing is corrupt from top to bottom and it's bad. At least the internet is.
Right.
Not you in particular.
Yeah, I guess as this argument goes on, it should restate that I'm playing the the devil's advocate, I suppose you could say. I'm playing the role of the internet in this hypothetical argument because I personally don't, even though I do not care for EA's business practices because, it is objectively kind of garbage. I, as a consumer, don't much like the idea of boycotting every game released by the studio. But yes.
Well, and we're talking about a business that is so big that it has essentially it has different factions. It has different smaller factions within it creating different games.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like EA was involved in Titanfall, but Respawn Entertainment made Titanfall.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing. It's like if you boycott a game like Titanfall because EA is involved, EA doesn't get any money, but neither does Respawn.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here, because
the idea that you want to boycott an entire company for a part of that company making awful bad business decisions, because the entire company's not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Not every single game they release is absolute garbage that is not fully made, that all has microtransactions. Not all of them are like that.
Yeah.
At least they weren't. I don't know now. I don't pay that close attention to EA as a company as a whole. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that you're going to boycott the entire company due to what part of the company did is stupid. Because essentially what you're saying is you just don't want that company to exist, period. What you should be doing is you should be helping support the games within that company that don't do that type of behavior. They don't do the microtransactions. They don't release unfinished games, because that'll help make those games sell more product, and then they'll realize that if they start selling or releasing more games that are finished and they don't have those microtransactions, that's what's actually going to bring in the money. And that'll essentially kill and make those types of bad business decisions go extinct. The problem is that they're putting them in game series that people care a lot about, like Call of Duty,
No,
they
that's
EA?
that's Activision.
My bad.
Like
What's
the
an EA
Battlefront
game?
series.
Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah, Battlefront. There you go. And stuff like that. So if you start supporting games from EA that aren't that, and those start making more money than Battlefront, that's where the big difference is going to come in. That's when the head CEOs are going to be like, okay, things are changing.
But yeah, it's just, here's the thing. It's like, no Titanfall 2 is ever going to make, no Unraveled is ever going to make more money than the next Battlefield installment. The Battlefield and Battlefront are both EA, I think. Yeah, Battlefield is EA. The Battlefield series is such a perpetual motion machine. There's essentially no stopping it. And EA is going to squeeze as much money out of it as they can, because EA doesn't care about customer satisfaction. They just care about money.
I mean, that's the majority of studios.
It's gonna be tough. Well, yeah, right. But like, there are studios with a little bit of they understand. Like, take Yacht Club.
No, you do not just jump to an indie studio like that.
Right,
you're jumping way too small.
No, I understand. But take Yacht Club for an example of like a complete opposite end of the spectrum. Yacht Club just does things for the community, and they do right by the community, and everybody has such good things to say about Yacht Club that's what makes them their money.
That's where they started.
Right.
They actually had a little bit of backlash when they released the DLCs for Shovel Knight. So Shovel Knight came out, right? Yeah. Base game. You buy it for what, $30?
Yeah.
Right. And it's fantastic. It's a good game. Then they throw out 2 DLCs, right? Mm-hmm. They did the Plague Knight DLC and then the King Knight DLC.
Yeah.
Right? And they threw them at you for free. If you own the game, you got them for free.
Right.
And everybody went crazy. They were all like, oh my god, the Yacht Club games are fantastic. They're the best out there. But then they made a smart business decision and started charging, I believe it was $30 or $20 for a season pass, which gave you basically 2 or 3 more games, because wasn't there 3 DLCs in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got 3...
Well, there was Spectre of Torment, there was...
Spectre Knight, Plague Knight, and King Knight.
Yes.
So you got 3 DLCs, which are essentially 3 Shovel Knight games. Like, they're almost complete games on their own.
Almost. They are kind of reskins of the main game with some additional things.
Yeah, that's why they're DLCs.
Yeah.
But they're almost full games. Like, I would pay money just to play Plague Knight's story.
Yeah, Spectre Knight plays very different than the base game.
That's true.
Yeah.
But they released those 3 in a DLC season pass type deal, which was another $20-$30. And they actually caught a ton of backlash for that. They got a bunch of hate stuff on them, like, you were giving these out for free, why are you starting to charge for them now? Type of deal.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally unjustified.
Sure.
I think that as far as it goes, they were making smart business decisions because they still have to make money. If they are giving away games for free, they're not making any money off of it. People go out, they'll buy the base game.
Well, yeah, but that's just the thing. It's just, you think every time they release a patch for Shovel Knight, that's more people that go to get Shovel Knight because it's more good press, I think, was their idea. You know?
I don't think that was the idea at first. I believe the idea was like, alright, so we made this game, and they were like a very indie company. They were just like, well, we're just going to release updates with new characters and more gameplay. Yeah. And they did. And it did gangbusters. People were going crazy over it. Yeah. And then, somebody in the marketing department's like, hey, guys, like, this is massive DLC. Massive DLC. We could be making more money off of this. This is not something that we should make a habit of because people are going to start expecting that. Yeah. And as well, like, that would be great as far as it goes on the consumer side.
Sure, yeah.
But they're losing so much. Like, the amount of man hours it takes to make those. Not that it's whole new assets every time, but it's a ton of work.
Well, it's funny how this Yacht Club thing is not too different from EA after all, because people hate paying for expansions. That's like... And that's because we all, you and I, of course, remember, and a lot of people remember a time before game, like, DLC was not a thing.
Yeah.
When you bought a game, you got the whole game, and that's all there was to it. If there was another game to be sold, it was going to be a sequel, and an
If there
entirely
was
different experience.
extras, you had to unlock them in the game.
Yes, and they would be like secrets.
Yep.
And it was great. And a lot of people remember that era, but that's just not where gaming is at these days. The companies have realized they can expand upon a game and charge you like $50 to. They can charge $100 on games instead of the usual $60. And yeah, that's where Yacht Club Games is like, well, we gotta change it up and like actually make money off of our hard work, and it's like that's fair, but people are like they're selling out, man, and that's why people hate EA, because they're a very money-minded company.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but companies have to be.
Yeah, it's like it or not, that's just how things are now.
In the world we are in today, companies have to be money-minded.
Yeah.
You aren't gonna start a company that is purely based on getting product out to the consumer as cheap as possible with no profit margin for yourself.
Yeah.
That just doesn't exist. And if it does, it's creators sitting at their homes creating these, very low budget, very time intensive, single person made or just very small group made projects. And those, I hate to say it, but a lot of them are really bad.
Yeah. Because
they don't have any money backing them. They don't have any money pulling talent backing them, It's missing. It's not missing passion, but it's missing polish.
Right.
It's missing good gameplay. It's missing good story. It's missing good, actual programming talent.
Now, there's a company that is absolutely guilty for a lot of the same things people demonize EA for, but they are one of the big companies that actually put a lot of care into their games, and they typically release like a whole experience, and that would be Bethesda, for the most part. They have dabbled in the EA bad practices with the whole what they've done to Skyrim.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing is the creator, like the head guy at Bethesda, what's his name?
Dude.
I forget his name.
I forget.
Everybody knows his face.
Yeah.
He became a meme.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes. He flat out stated people were criticizing just one after another about them releasing Skyrim years and years after, like 10 years of just Skyrim being re-released, redone, Redux, VR, all of that. And they were just ragging on him online. Like, people would be tweeting at him and all this. And he said one simple thing. He said, if you guys want it to stop buying it.
Yeah, and that really does...
it's that easy.
It's funny. You could go really deep with this, and since I want to keep this podcast a little shorter than they have been recently, I don't think we're going to be able to. You can go really deep with this and talk about how games are more of a pop culture phenomenon now than they have ever been.
Oh, of course.
And this means companies can sell haphazard products to a bunch of chumps. And they can make mad money, yo.
Yeah.
And that's just where we're at.
Well, it's just because video games are becoming more widely accepted and more family friendly. Anybody and everybody can find a game that they enjoy.
Yeah.
Not that they couldn't before. I mean, Tetris has been around for ages, and that's been a game for, all age, race, genders across the board. But, we're getting even more games like Tetris that can fit that, category.
Yeah.
Where everybody can play it.
Well, yeah, it's just like everybody plays Fortnite.
Everybody plays a video game.
Yeah.
My mom is probably sitting at home right now playing some puzzle game on her phone right now.
Right.
It's
very widespread.
as simple as that.
But and when something gets that widespread, you get the Marvel effect, which means you can make things as formulaic and money-minded as possible, and people will go see it so long as the word of mouth and advertising is good enough.
Yeah.
It's like that with games. And that's just, like we said, that's just how it is now. And there was a time when the game industry was, not really like that. I mean, as to my knowledge, there was a time where it was a kind of a niche industry, and
very.
it was very developers wanted to please the consumers, and it was just kind of.
Yeah, it used to be completely based off of passion projects.
Yes, exactly.
That ended up making it big and then made it a viable job.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't used to be a viable job. If you were a video game programmer, you were considered to be poor and nerdy. And
look into the history of Atari. It's really interesting because it was this passion project that didn't go particularly well. What with the whole games crash of the 1980s,
yeah.
it was. It was like there it was a risk being in the gaming industry.
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the content creator industry now with YouTube and Twitch. It was so high risk.
Yeah.
Just to even try to get into those industries,
mm-hmm.
that it typically wasn't worth it. If you were in those industries, people wouldn't date you because they thought you were going to be this homeless loser.
Sure.
Parents
sure, yeah.
Parents and family would be disappointed in their kids when they said, yeah, I want to be a game developer. And a programmer for video games. And nowadays, if you say that, they're like, all right, we'll send you to college, get you some C++ classes, and we'll get you going.
It's an incredibly lucrative field because as games have become more mainstream, it's easier to siphon money from the general public.
Yeah. But another issue is that it's becoming so oversaturated that we are getting games that they come out and you've never heard of them.
Sure.
They don't get any press and they just exist.
Yeah.
And nobody buys them.
Mm-hmm.
They just sit there.
Yeah.
And all this time and work and effort and goes into them, and those people get paid. But then the businesses that are creating those are typically businesses that created like Candy Crush.
Yeah. I was browsing the Switch library the other day and I found 2 games. They're called Miles and Kilo, and then another one, Something Kid. And I looked at these 2 games right next to each other and I was like, hold on a second. So I wish I had a visual to show you, but it was kind of amazing. I did some digging. And Miles and Kilo is like this little kid. The picture was a kid, and it was like this very clearly like Mario ripoff type thing. Like the assets were like very much Mario assets and that kind of thing. And it was just this 2D platformer thing with like a little cute monster and like coins and a kid and a grassy field. Actually, maybe more like Sonic assets actually. And then I looked at the other one right next to it, and it was the same thing. Not the same image, but the same basic thing. The kid looked almost identical, and the art looked almost identical. And they're right next to each other, and I was like, that's weird. And then I looked at both of them, and the descriptions are very, very similar. And then I scrolled down to both of them, and they're released by the same company, roughly the same time. And it's just asset flipped. It's the first one came out, and then they did an asset flip version of another version of that game and released it under a different name. So there are companies that they're just farming the same assets to make the same game over and over again, and that's just normal.
Yeah,
it's licensed, not Nintendo licensed games because they're on the Switch. Yep. It's just interesting to me.
And I don't know anybody who's bought those types of games.
Nobody does. They just exist.
Yeah.
And people who are gullible enough, I suppose.
Yeah, well, the only idea that I can get a hold of in my head is children.
Yeah, children and families, yeah.
Who see this game, it's super cheap on their device. They ask their mom, can I please get this game? It's only $1.
Yeah.
Please, just let me buy it.
I think they were each like 40 cents.
Yeah.
They're really, really...
They can just be like, there's this Mario game, it's only 40 cents. Please buy it. And then the parents are like, 40 cents? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So they'll throw 40 cents at it. But see, the thing is that games if they sell enough product, they can sell for 40 cents and still make profit.
Yeah.
You know, if a Call of Duty game came out today and it sold for $1,
yeah,
you would still make trillions of dollars, billions of dollars is more like
supply and demand.
Just because
basic economics.
Just because of how many copies of Call of Duty is sold when one releases, it's billions of copies of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
So you would still make enough money to at least go even, most likely.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
I mean, maybe not now with how big
and we're gonna learn now that Miles and Kilo has overtaken sales in Call of Duty.
Oh my lord! Miles and Kilo actually is a bigger mascot than Mario and Luigi.
Yeah. It's gonna be when can we get Miles and Kilo in Smash?
That's true. I want it so bad. But I mean, it's really bizarre, and a lot of things, you know. I think the head of Bethesda, he knows. If you want it to stop, don't pay for it.
Yeah.
And he's right.
And nobody's ever gonna do that. And that's why people are boycotting EA, because they're like, we the only change we can make is just stop paying for these things.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna make a dent, because EA is always gonna find a way around it.
Well, one, they're not boycotting the right parts of EA. Like, you have to make sure you single it out, because EA is such a big company that it has so many limbs. Right. Like, if you hate the arms, but you love the legs.
Well, it's like there is certainly when a game like Battlefront 2 comes out, there's this whole wave of people who are like, don't buy Battlefront 2, don't pre-order it, don't buy it, because you're just giving EA money for these horrible practices. And there's that group of people, but then there's the people that they just like write off EA entirely. And
once again, it comes down to, is it that bad? You know, that's a very subjective answer for this question.
It's up to debate.
I know.
Yeah.
But to a lot of people,
oh yeah, no,
it's not that bad.
I bought Battlefront 2 because it was on sale for a ridiculous price, and I felt I felt like I was betraying the internet for doing so, because that was the intent. They put it on sale for such a ridiculously low price that I bought it. Just because I wanted to see what all the fuss is about. And it's like, it's not a very fun game, but it's not heinous.
Now there's where, like, if you're paying for games that you don't like, and I know it's a very hard thing to do. Right?
I liked Battlefront 1, and the internet hate for Battlefront 2 made me stray away from it, but I thought, like, maybe I'll genuinely like Battlefront 2. I was actually hoping to like it, and I bought it, and it was just kind of I lost interest in it, but it wasn't a horrible game.
Okay.
It's not nearly as good as the original, but I wouldn't buy games I don't like.
Yeah.
Like but games I wouldn't expect to like. I only get games that I feel like I'll enjoy, because, you know, I don't have the kind of money to throw around experimenting on games that I know I'm not gonna like.
Well, and, you know, it is kind of a weird thing to say that you have to put your money in where you want the environment to go, because, you know, not everybody has money, and you know, you can't expect every game that you're gonna like. You know, you just can't. But, you know, if you think that if you think that this game is gonna be good, and you wait, right, and you don't touch it, you don't put money at it, you don't do any of that, and it comes out and the internet all says we hate it, and that's it, and then you don't buy it, and then, you know, 3 years down the line you see it's on sale for 40 cents. Right?
Yeah.
And you pick it up and you think that this is one of the best games ever. You have officially stated to that company that you didn't like the game because you didn't put money towards it when it was being released.
I suppose, but the whole thing is, like, they bank on there being a wave of people seeing it on sale and thinking, oh, I should give it a shot. It's really cheap. Because then, like you said, then a lot of people will get it.
Well, sure, but by then, you know, they're not making money off of it. And if it doesn't make money, the higher-ups aren't going to go, oh, well, a bajillion people bought it when it was on sale for 40 cents. They're not going to take that and say, now we need to make a sequel. They're going to take that and go, yeah, but they bought it when it was on sale for 40 cents. We're never going to make another game.
I don't know.
Not like that.
There's certainly going to be another Battlefront game, and there's certainly going to be another Battlefield game because enough people buy them.
Well, yeah, I'm talking more of like unknown, like not franchise-based games. You know,
Sure, yeah.
I'm talking about just games as singular.
The ridiculous. Well, but that's the whole thing. Like games that sell insanely well don't typically go on sale for those really low prices unless there's a dip in public. Well, I guess I don't know how well Battlefront 2 did. I'm thinking of games like Overwatch. Like Overwatch never goes on sale because so many people buy it. Like why would they put it on sale? People have said they're willing to spend $60, $70, $80 on it, so they're just it hasn't gone on sale. But and then there's there's every Call of Duty game. If it does go on sale, it's after the next like 3 installments in the series are out.
And we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about a franchised series of games versus a single standalone game.
Yes, exactly. Like Overwatch was a very good selling game, and therefore it doesn't really go on sale ever.
Because it doesn't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? If a game comes out and it's really good and people just don't buy it though at first, you know, it doesn't get the right advertisement, it doesn't get the right internet publicity that it should have gotten, then people aren't going to buy it, and therefore eventually it'll just go on sale. And then if people do buy it and it does get that resurgence, the higher ups still aren't going to care though because it didn't make money.
Sure.
And then it's just not going to become a part of that franchise. And some people may say that's good. Some people don't want things to become franchises. And I get that. You know, franchises tend to end up creating what you like to call the Marvel effect, where it becomes a very same old mold cast type of game or movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of the best things are franchises.
Sure.
Uncharted is amazing. Infamous is amazing. I love those games. Skyrim exists because it's part of a franchise.
Yeah.
And Skyrim was very good when it first came out to me.
Yeah.
And you still love Skyrim.
I
and
do.
you're still super hyped for the next one.
Absolutely.
And I'm even kind of excited for the next one, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
You know, franchises can be very good. But they can also have their awful downsides, right? You can get the Call of Duty effect where it gets super oversaturated, or the Assassin's Creed effect, or the Battlefield effect. You know.
Yeah.
Where just you get too many, they just start cloning each other, essentially, and becoming just near identical copies, creating this money-making machine. And the only way to stop it
is to kill the president of EA.
You got me. That's where this was all going. Is to stop buying it. Stop putting your money there.
So this conversation's cyclical, because now we get back to the fact that people are trying to do that with EA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in those franchises.
Sure.
Specifically. I think boycotting the entire company is kind of silly. I think they're doing it for the wrong reasons. If they're boycotting the entire company. Unless somebody can give me like a good rundown of why the whole company as a whole should crumble.
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to bring down the idea of loot boxes, the idea of pay-to-win mechanics, the idea of releasing unfinished games, then you have to stop putting money towards those. And I'm not talking about singular people. I'm talking about gamers as a whole. We need to stop putting money towards that and putting money towards things that aren't that. That'll show them that we want things that aren't that.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to do it together.
Oh yeah, and
you know?
And you're that's exactly what people are trying to do, is what you're saying. And
well, you said boycott the whole thing.
Well, no, there's some people that are like that, but
okay.
There's like I said, it's yeah. What am I trying to say? Right. When we talk about boycotting the whole company, that's the extreme of that attitude. But obviously, a lot of people they boycott the specific things, like the loot boxes and your Shadow of War and that kind of thing, and they're very vocal about it. And then games journalism websites release a piece about how terrible the loot box epidemic is, and
we've seen some reform from this. There has been people come out saying we're releasing this game and it's not going to have loot boxes.
Sure.
You know, that's not something that we want to have to be said, but it's good that it's happening.
But here's the thing: there's always going to be another loot box.
Of course there is.
There's always going to be another business practice that.
Are you kidding me?
You get rid of loot boxes.
If that didn't exist,
yeah,
games wouldn't change as an entirety. We wouldn't have good change either.
Yeah. Well, that's just how they make their money. They need to find creative ways to get money out of people.
Yeah.
So it's like you get loot boxes to go away, they'll just find another way.
Of course they will.
So it's just this whole like nihilistic, endless cycle.
But games changing as a whole, like they're with the change of not having loot boxes, may come in a system where they make games that actually give you the entire game where everyone's on an equal playing field. Great. But then they'll introduce something else that'll suck a little bit more money out of you if you want.
Yeah.
But at least we're advancing as a culture, as an art form per se.
Sure.
You know, it's at least it's moving. If it's not moving, it grows stagnant and it dies.
There's a lot more support for indie studios and a lot less support for big corporations. So
yeah.
That's
which is kind of cool.
That's good.
Indie studios are really cool right now. They're on fire.
Yeah.
You know, I like a lot of the stuff they've been releasing. And some of them do the same stuff. They release things that are unfinished.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the whole thing. That's pervasive in the whole indie game.
Yeah.
Because you look at early access
That's
games.
where it started.
Yeah.
Was early access indie games.
Yeah.
You know, Minecraft.
And then people are like, hold on now, we can just release an unfinished game.
Yeah.
And then get people to pay us for it and then pay us again when it comes out.
Yeah. Well, and that started with Minecraft, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it was kind of the original, play this alpha.
Yeah.
And please give me money for it because I'm working hard on it.
Yeah.
And they did. And it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And, it blew up from there. People started releasing games and wanting to be paid money for unfinished games. And this is just where we are.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of depressing.
It's a bummer, but
it's just the price we pay for games being such a mainstream thing now. Because now businesses it's a gold rush of businesses realizing they can make a ton of cash from a lot of people. So
yeah, but this isn't everything. This is everywhere all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is nothing new.
Yeah, it's just people wanted to believe video gaming was a inner sanctum.
Sacred.
Yeah, a sacred
thing. Untouchable, precious.
But it's like,
passion project oriented.
It like everything else can be exploited for money and has been.
Of course. I mean, it has been since the very beginning.
Yes, exactly.
This is not new.
Yeah.
People have been milking games since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of games being created.
Yes.
You know how many versions of Tetris are out there that are just garbage?
Yeah.
Hundreds upon hundreds.
There's a new one coming out.
Is there?
Tetris,
yeah, that's
Tetris
right.
Effect.
The VR one.
Yeah.
Isn't that VR?
I don't know if it's VR, but it's like Tetris with a lot of particle effects.
Yeah, but whatever. And you know what? If you like that, great.
Yes.
If you don't buy it. There you go.
Yeah.
Support what you want to see in gaming.
Yes.
Don't support what you don't want to see. It's that easy.
Well, that's not, right. That's of course good advice, but I don't think anybody's going to be supporting what they don't want to see. Because, that's just not the consumer mentality.
It's not true. There are people out there who I know who, I hate loot boxes, and then they buy every single Call of Duty game.
Wow. Yeah, I suppose.
Well,
and then that goes right back to right where we started, where my moral conundrum. Like, I hate the loot box practice, but, like, if I want to play the newest Call of Duty, because it's a series I've enjoyed in the past, like, what's stopping me?
Well, there's nothing
do I have a
you.
moral obligation to not buy them? And then your argument
That's up to you.
Yeah.
That's completely up to you.
Yeah, but your argument is, if I want no more loot boxes in games, I should stop buying the Call of Duty series.
It is. But if you enjoy the Call of Duty series more than you want loot boxes to stop being around, then by all means, put money towards it.
But then I'm part of the problem.
No, you're not.
Yes.
If you enjoy the game of Call of Duty more than you don't want loot boxes to be around,
yeah,
then you're putting your money towards something that you believe is worth
Yes,
that.
but the developers don't get that context when they get my money.
Of course not.
They just see the sales and they're like, well, clearly this loot box thing's working, so we gotta.
And
keep
so
pushing
then
them.
you have an internal struggle
Yes.
that you now have to fight.
I have this moral conflict, and I just. Yeah.
And eventually, if Call of Duty continues down this path, and every single game becomes more and more loot box heavy and more loot box heavy, eventually it's probably going to reach a tipping point where you and a good majority of others...
To be perfectly fair, the loot box mechanics are actually why I've stopped buying the Call of Duty games.
There you go.
When
you reached that tipping point.
Yeah, I did. The whole thing is like it annoyed me in Advanced Warfare, and it's been like it ever since, where there are guns that you can only unlock by buying loot boxes, and that infuriated me. And it's actually, well, not just that. Also, the Call of Duty series, they don't allow 4-player split screen, and I think the recent ones don't allow split screen at all. Am I right in saying that, or do they still? Remember. We tried to play World War II split screen. No, yeah, it does allow split screen, but
it's only 2-player.
Only 2-player.
Yeah.
And that bugged me because, now you can't get some friends to go play split screen Call of Duty. And that and the loot box thing where it's just like, you gotta do loot boxes to get some of the guns. And it's like the whole idea of Call of Duty is you just play to unlock the guns. Like Modern Warfare 2, there was no loot boxes. You just unlocked things by playing the game.
And eventually there will become a tipping point where the majority finally decides that they've had enough. They're going to move on to this other thing.
Yeah.
And then Call of Duty will either change or die.
Sure.
That's its only actions that it could possibly take that I can imagine at that point.
Yeah. And,
it may be years from now. It may be 2 years from now. I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody
can tell. But, it's something that, depending on what EA decides to do with it, it can find its way to actually end, the problem that it essentially created.
Yeah, but corporate greed is never going to end. That's going to be a thing for always.
I mean, that's this human instinct.
Yeah.
We want power, we want money.
Yeah.
And then we want more of it. What are you going to do? Can't fix humans.
It's true.
Doesn't happen. Not really.
So, I guess to conclude this whole segment, there's no point in doing anything.
Why not?
Never.
I disagree with that.
There's no hope.
I disagree with that as well.
This segment is brought to you by
Russia?
Arby's.
Get
the new Euro. In a store near you.
I thought it was Mike's Meats.
Well, in the time that we've spoken, Mike's Meats has now been consolidated into Arby's. I just got the text. So
that's so sad.
Mike's Meat. In the time that we've been talking about corporate greed, Mike's Meat has indeed gone corporate. So if you need Mike's Meat,
it's just like how Microsoft bought Minecraft.
Yes.
And then introduced loot boxes.
Arby's, eat fresh. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. See you on the next episode.
Better Papa.
Pizza.
Arby's.
Better Arby's. No, better pizza.
Better Papa.
Better fresh.
Better Arby's.
Eat Arby's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm hating it.
That's right.
Well, it's been a tremendous episode.
It's been an episode.
I'll see you the next time we decide to record.
This was fun.
Which will probably be in exactly 1 week.
Approximately.
Yes. See you around.
Catch you on the flip side.
Bye.